The vast expanse of space shimmered with an eerie calm. Countless stars twinkled, oblivious to the impending doom that threatened to engulf the entire galaxy. It was in this moment of false peace that the unthinkable happened. A massive dark cloud emerged from the depths of unknown space. It moved with purpose, consuming everything in its path. Planets, stars, and entire solar systems vanished as if they never existed. The galaxy's most advanced civilizations watched in horror as their long-range sensors detected this unstoppable force. The Zorgans, known for their warrior culture and unmatched battle prowess, were the first to sound the alarm. Their emperor, a towering figure with gleaming scales and fierce eyes, called for an emergency meeting of the Galactic Council. As representatives from various alien races gathered in the Grand Hall of Unity Station, tension filled the air. The Zorgan Emperor's voice boomed through the chamber. "We face a threat unlike any we have ever encountered. This void is consuming our galaxy at an alarming rate." Murmurs of fear and disbelief rippled through the assembly. The Quarians, a race of hyper-intelligent beings with large pulsating brains, stepped forward. Their spokesperson, a small creature floating in a levitation field, spoke in a calm, calculated tone. "Our simulations show that at its current rate, the void will consume our entire galaxy within one standard solar cycle." Panic erupted. The flutterlings, delicate butterfly-like creatures known for their empathic abilities, fluttered nervously, their wings creating a soft hum of anxiety. The rock-like gronks rumbled in their seats, their crystalline structures vibrating with worry. As the chaos grew, an unexpected voice cut through the noise. "What if we fought back?" All eyes turned to the source of the question. There, standing barely noticed until now, was the human representative, Sarah Chen. The room fell silent, then erupted in laughter. The Zorgan Emperor bellowed, "You? The humans, your species can barely lead your own solar system. What could you possibly do against this threat?" Sarah stood her ground, her eyes blazing with determination. "We may not have the most advanced technology or the strongest warriors, but humans have something that might just save us all: adaptability and an unbreakable spirit." The laughter died down, replaced by curious glances and skeptical murmurs. The Quarian spokesperson floated closer to Sarah. "Elaborate, human. What do you propose?" Sarah took a deep breath. "Throughout our history, humans have faced countless challenges. We've survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and near-extinction events. Each time, we've not only survived but thrived. We don't give up, even when the odds seem impossible." The flutterling representative, sensing Sarah's genuine belief, chimed in. "It's true. Their emotional strength is remarkable." Sarah continued, her voice growing stronger. "We propose a mission. A small team, comprised of the bravest volunteers from Earth, to investigate this void up close, to find its weakness, if there is one." The room erupted once again, this time in a mix of shock, disbelief, and a tiny spark of hope. The Zorgan Emperor laughed, but this time without mockery. "You humans are either the bravest or the most foolish species I have ever encountered. Perhaps both." As the debate raged on, a strange realization dawned on the gathered aliens. None of their advanced species had dared to suggest such a bold move. They had all been paralyzed by fear, calculating odds, and accepting defeat. Yet here stood the humans, one of the youngest and least advanced spacefaring races, ready to dive headfirst into danger for the sake of all. The Quarian spokesperson's brain pulsed rapidly, processing this new data. Statistically improbable, yet intriguing. Perhaps there is logic in madness. As the day wore on, the impossible happened. The Galactic Council, led by the most powerful civilizations in the known universe, found themselves rallying behind the plan of a species they had all but ignored until now. The first seeds of hope were planted. In the face of an unstoppable, galaxy-consuming force, it was the cowardly humans who stepped up. The galaxy watched, waited, and for the first time since the crisis began, dared to hope. The human mission was greenlit, and the fate of trillions now rested on the shoulders of a species that still marveled at the miracle of flight. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of humanity's greatest adventure. The news spread across Earth like wildfire. Humanity, the underdog of the galaxy, had volunteered to save the universe. Excitement, fear, and disbelief swept through every nation. In a small, cluttered office at the United Earth Space Agency, Sarah Chen stared at her computer screen. Her inbox was flooded with volunteer applications. "This is crazy," she muttered, running a hand through her messy black hair. Her colleague, Dr. Raj Patel, peered over her shoulder. "How many?" "Millions," Sarah replied, her voice a mix of awe and exhaustion. "We need to choose only 5. The selection process was grueling. They needed a diverse team with unique skills. After weeks of tests and interviews, they had their crew. The chosen 5 gathered at the launch site, a remote facility in the Australian outback. As they stood before the gleaming spaceship, named Hope's Arrow, the weight of their mission sank in. Captain Lai Wei, a former fighter pilot from China, stepped forward. His weathered face showed both determination and fear. "I never thought I'd be leading a mission to save the galaxy," he said with a nervous chuckle. Dr. Emily Ochoa, a brilliant xenobiologist from Mexico, nodded. "None of us did, Captain. But here we are." Her hands trembled slightly as she clutched her data pad. Zaran Jerry, a Kenyan mechanical engineer, patted the ship's hull. "She's not much compared to alien tech, but she's the best Earth has to offer." Pride and worry mingled in her voice. Dmitry Volkov, a Russian psychologist, looked at his teammates. "We're all scared. It's okay to admit it." His calm voice seemed to ease some of the tension. The 5th member, Jamal Thompson, an American hacker and tech specialist, grinned despite the pressure. "Scared? Nah, I'm thrilled. We're making history, folks." As they prepared to board, a commotion caught their attention. A group of alien observers had arrived to witness the launch. The sight of these advanced beings made the human crew feel small and inadequate. The Zorgan representative, General Kraz, approached them. His massive form towered over the humans. "You creatures are either very brave or very stupid," he growled. Captain Lai stood tall, meeting the alien's gaze. "Perhaps we're a bit of both, General." A Quarian floated forward, its brain pulsing rapidly. "Your mission has a 98.7% chance of failure. Are you aware of this?" Dr. Oko stepped up. "We're aware of the odds, but humans have a history of defying probabilities." The flutterling ambassador fluttered closer, its delicate wings shimmering. "We sense great fear in you, but also hope. It's beautiful." Jamal grinned. "That's humanity for you. Scared out of our minds, but too stubborn to give up." As the aliens watched in fascination, the human crew began their boarding procedures. Each step they took echoed with the weight of their responsibility. Inside the ship, they strapped into their seats. Captain Lee's voice came through the intercom, steady despite his nerves. "This is it, team. We're about to embark on the most important journey in human history." Dr. Oko checked her instruments. "All systems are go, Captain." Zara's fingers flew over her console. Engines primed and ready. Mitri closed his eyes, taking deep breaths, mentally prepared. As much as one can be. Jamal cracked his knuckles. "Tech systems online. Let's do this." The countdown began. On the ground, Sarah Chen watched with bated breath. The aliens observed in silence, still unsure what to make of these strange, fragile creatures. 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. Hope's Arrow roared to life, its engines blazing against the night sky. It rose slowly at first, then with increasing speed, punching through the atmosphere. As the ship disappeared from view, a strange feeling swept through the watching crowd. It wasn't just hope they felt, but something more, admiration. General Kraz turned to Sarah. Your people are full of surprises. Perhaps we underestimated you." Sarah smiled, her eyes still on the sky. "That's okay. We're used to being underestimated. It's what makes our victories all the sweeter." As Hope's arrow accelerated towards its rendezvous with the galactic fleet, its crew felt the full weight of their mission. They were afraid, yes, but they were also filled with an unshakable determination. Humanity had taken its first step into a larger universe, carrying with them the hopes of countless worlds. The unlikeliest of heroes were on their way to face the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known. And despite the odds, they dared to believe they could win. Hope's arrow shot through the vastness of space, its human crew still adjusting to the reality of their mission. Captain Lai Wei sat in the command chair, his eyes fixed on the starfield ahead. "Status report," he called out, his voice steady despite the butterflies in his stomach. Dr. Emily Oko looked up from her console. "All systems nominal, Captain. We're on course to rendezvous with the Galactic Fleet in approximately 72 hours. Jamal Thompson chuckled from his station. 72 hours. Man, these alien drives are something else. Would've taken us years with our old tech." Zaranjeri nodded, her hands dancing over the engine controls. "True, but I still don't fully understand how they work. It's like magic." Dmitry Volkov, ever the voice of reason, spoke up. "Remember, team. Arthur C. Clarke once said that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. We're here to learn, adapt, and overcome." As the crew settled into their journey, the first challenge arose. A blaring alarm cut through the ship's calm atmosphere. Red lights flashed ominously. "What's happening?" Captain Lai demanded, gripping his armrests. Jamal's fingers flew over his keyboard. "We've got a problem, Cap. Looks like we're heading straight for an ion storm. It wasn't on any of the charts." Zora's eyes widened. "If we get caught in that, it'll fry our systems. We'll be dead in the water." Captain Lai's mind raced. They couldn't fail, not so soon into their mission. "Options, people. I need options." Dr. Oko spoke up, her voice trembling slightly. "The alien shielding should protect us, but I'm not sure for how long." "We could try to go around it," Zora suggested, "but that would delay us significantly." Jamal shook his head. "No time. It's expanding too fast." The crew fell silent, the gravity of their situation sinking in. Then Dmitry spoke up. What if we go through it?" Everyone turned to look at him, shock evident on their faces. "Are you crazy?" Jamal exclaimed. "That's suicide." But Captain Lai leaned forward, intrigued. "Explain, Dmitry." "Well," Dmitry began, his psychology training kicking in, "humans have always achieved the impossible by doing the unexpected. The storm's electromagnetic properties are what make it dangerous, right? So what if we use that to our advantage?" Dr. Okoa's eyes lit up with understanding. "You're suggesting we use the storm to supercharge our systems?" Dmitry nodded. "Exactly. It's risky, but it's exactly the kind of crazy thing humans would do," Zora finished, a smile spreading across her face. Captain Lai took a deep breath. It was a huge gamble, but they were already on an impossible mission. "All right, let's do it. Zara, divert all power to the shields. Jamal, be ready to channel any excess energy into our drive systems. Emily, monitor our structural integrity. Dmitry, keep us calm." As Hope's arrow plunged into the swirling chaos of the ion storm, the ship shuddered violently. Outside, ribbons of energy danced across the shield, creating a spectacular-like show. Inside, alarms blared as systems overloaded. The crew worked feverishly, making split-second decisions and adjustments. Sweat beaded on their foreheads as the temperature rose. "Shield integrity at 60% and dropping," shouted Dr. Oko. "Rerouting power." Zara yelled back, her fingers a blur on the controls. Jamal whooped suddenly. "Guys, you won't believe this. Our drive capacity is off the charts." Captain Lai gripped his chair tighter. Hold on, everyone. We're almost through. With a final violent shudder, Hope's arrow burst out of the other side of the storm. As the alarms fell silent, the crew looked at each other in disbelief. They had done it. Status report, Captain Lai said, his voice hoarse. Dr. Oko checked her readings, her eyes widening. Captain, not only did we survive, but our systems are operating at 150% efficiency. The storm, it supercharged us. Cheers erupted on the bridge. They had faced their first major challenge and emerged stronger. As the excitement died down, Dmitri spoke softly. You know what this means, don't you? We've just proven that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our physical abilities. Captain Lai nodded, understanding. It's our ability to think outside the box, to take risks, to do the unexpected. As Hope's arrow sped towards its rendezvous, now ahead of schedule, the crew felt a new sense of confidence. They had passed their first test, but they knew more challenges lay ahead. Yet for the first time, they truly believed they might just save the galaxy. The impossible journey had only just begun, but humanity was ready to face whatever the universe threw at them. The galactic fleet hung in space like a shimmering curtain of metal and light. Ships of all shapes and sizes, representing the most advanced civilizations in the known universe, floated in perfect formation. Among them, Hope's arrow looked small and insignificant. Captain Lai Wei stood on the bridge, his jaw set firmly as he stared at the viewscreen. Jamal, open a channel to the fleet commander. Jamal Thompson's fingers danced over his console. Channel open, Cap. The screen flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Grand Admiral Zixtor, a being that seemed to be made of living crystal. Its voice resonated through the bridge. Humans, you have arrived earlier than expected. Perhaps you are not as primitive as we thought. Dr. Emily Oko stepped forward. We encountered some difficulties on our journey, Admiral, but we've overcome them. The crystal being's facets shimmered, an alien expression of surprise. Interesting. Report to the command ship immediately. We are about to face the void. As Hope's arrow docked with the massive command ship, the human crew felt a mix of awe and intimidation. They were escorted to the war room, where representatives from dozens of alien races were gathered. The room fell silent as the humans entered. Captain Lai squared his shoulders and addressed the assembly. We're here to help. What's the situation? A hologram sprang to life in the center of the room, showing a massive swirling darkness that seemed to devour light itself. Grand Admiral Zixtor spoke, its voice grave. The void has consumed 3 more star systems since your departure from Earth. Our weapons are useless against it. We are at a loss. The aliens looked at the humans expectantly. The weight of countless civilizations' hopes pressed down on the small Earth team. Zarangeri studied the hologram intently. It's not just consuming matter, she mused. It's absorbing energy too, like a giant, universe-eating battery. Dmitri Volkov nodded, a battery that keeps growing. The more it consumes, the stronger it gets. Jamal scratched his head. So how you stop something that turns your own strength against you? The room fell silent again. The greatest minds in the galaxy were stumped. Then, Dr. Okoa's eyes lit up. What if we're looking at this all wrong? All eyes turned to her. We're treating the void like an enemy to be defeated. But what if it's not an enemy at all? Captain Lai leaned forward, intrigued. Go on, Emily. Well, she continued, her voice growing more confident. In nature, when we see something consuming energy on a massive scale, it's usually for a reason. Growth, reproduction, or, she paused, looking around the room, transformation. The alien representatives murmured among themselves. Grand Admiral Zixtor's crystalline form pulsed with curiosity. Explain, human. Dr. Oko pointed to the hologram. Look at the pattern of consumption. It's not random. There's a purpose to it. I think the void might be alive. The room erupted in a cacophony of alien voices. Some scoffed at the idea. Others considered it with growing interest. Captain Lai raised his hand, silencing the room. If Dr. Oko is right, then we're not dealing with a mindless force of destruction. We're dealing with a living entity. And if it's alive, we can communicate with it. Dmitri finished, his eyes wide with realization. Jamal laughed nervously. Great. So instead of fighting a giant space monster, we're going to try to talk to it. Much better. Zara shot him a look. Got any better ideas? Grand Admiral Zixtor's voice cut through the tension. This is unprecedented. How do you propose to communicate with something that destroys everything it touches? Captain Lai stepped forward, his voice firm. The same way we've always done it. With courage, creativity, and an open mind. We'll need to get close to the void, to study it up close. It's risky, but it's our best shot. The alien representatives looked at each other uncertainly. The humans' plan was dangerous, possibly suicidal. But it was also the first glimmer of hope they'd had since the crisis began. Grand Admiral Zixtor's crystalline form shimmered as it considered the proposal. Finally, it spoke. Very well, humans, we will provide you with our most advanced stealth technology. But understand this, if you fail, there will be no second chance. The fate of the galaxy rests in your hands. As the human crew left the war room to prepare for their mission, the weight of their responsibility settled on their shoulders. They were about to face the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known, armed with nothing but their wits and a desperate plan. Captain Lai looked at his team, seeing the fear in their eyes, but also the determination. Well, folks, he said with a grim smile, let's go make first contact with the apocalypse. Hope's arrow, now equipped with alien stealth technology, crept silently towards the edge of the void. Inside, the human crew worked tirelessly, each lost in their own thoughts about the monumental task ahead. Captain Li Wei's voice broke the tense silence. Status report. Zaranjuri glanced at her console. Stealth systems functioning perfectly, Captain. We're practically invisible. Good, Lai nodded. Jamal, any sign of detection from the void? Jamal Thompson shook his head. Nothing, Cap. It's like it doesn't even know we're here. Dr. Emily Oko stared intently at her readings. The energy patterns are incredible. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. Dmitri Volkov leaned over her shoulder. Can you make any sense of it? Emily bit her lip. It's complex, but there's definitely a pattern. It's not random destruction. This entity, whatever it is searching for something. As they watched, tendrils of darkness reached out from the void, gently probing nearby stars. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. We've been spotted, Jamal yelled, his fingers flying across his console. Captain Li's voice remained steady. Evasive maneuvers, Zara. Jamal, try to re-establish stealth. But it was too late. A tendril of the void shot towards them with impossible speed, enveloping the ship in darkness. Brace for impact, Lai shouted. Yet, the expected destruction didn't come. Instead, the bridge was filled with a soft, pulsing light. The crew looked around in confusion. We're still here, Zora said, disbelief in her voice. Dmitri's eyes widened. It's not attacking us. It's scanning us. Dr. Oko gasped as her console lit up with new data. Oh my God, she whispered. I think it's trying to communicate. Captain Lai leaned forward. Can you understand it, Emily? She shook her head. Not exactly. It's not using any language we know. It's more like emotions, feelings, images. Jamal laughed nervously. Great. We came to talk, and now we're playing intergalactic charades. Dmitri's psychology training kicked in. Emily, what kind of emotions are you picking up? She closed her eyes, concentrating. Loneliness, curiosity, and fear? Yes, definitely fear. The crew exchanged glances. The most powerful force in the galaxy, afraid. Captain Li made a decision. Emily, Can you send emotions back? She nodded uncertainly. I think so. The alien tech we got from the fleet might be able to amplify our brainwaves. But what should we send? The truth, Lai said simply. Show it who we are. What humanity is all about. As Emily worked to establish the connection, the rest of the crew gathered around her, placing their hands on her shoulders in support. They closed their eyes, focusing on their shared experiences, their hopes, their fears, and their unwavering determination. Memories flowed through their minds. Earth's blue oceans and green forests. The joy of scientific discovery. The pain of loss and the strength found in unity. The terror of facing the unknown and the courage to push forward anyway. The ship hummed with energy as these thoughts were broadcast into the void. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the darkness around them began to pulse with color. It's responding, Emily exclaimed. I'm getting images. A journey. A long, long journey across empty space, searching for home. Understanding dawned on Mitri's face. It's not a destroyer. It's a refugee. A being from another universe, perhaps, lost and alone, consuming energy in its search for a way back. Zora's eyes widened, and every time it consumed a star or planet, it was hoping to find a way home. Jamal finished, awe in his voice. Captain Lai stood up, his face set with determination. Then let's help it find one. Over the next few hours, the human crew worked feverishly, using their unique blend of scientific knowledge, intuition, and creativity. They established a rudimentary form of communication with the void, learning of its origins and its desperate search for a way back to its own universe. As the final pieces fell into place, Emily looked up at her crewmates, tears in her eyes. I think we've done it. We found a way to create a bridge between universes, a way to send it home. The Bridge of Hope's arrow was silent as the weight of their accomplishment sank in. They had come seeking to destroy a threat, only to find a lost and lonely being in need of help. In doing so, they had not only saved their galaxy, but made a breakthrough that would change the course of scientific understanding forever. Captain Lai smiled at his crew. Well done, everyone. Let's give our new friend a way home. As they prepared to broadcast the solution to both the void and the waiting galactic fleet, the human crew knew that they had just written a new chapter in the history of the universe. And it was only the beginning. The tension on the Bridge of Hope's arrow was palpable as Captain Lai Wei opened a channel to the galactic fleet. The faces of various alien leaders appeared on the view screen, their expressions a mix of hope and skepticism. Grand Admiral Zixtor, Lai began, his voice steady despite the pressure. We've made contact with the entity we've been calling the Void, and we have a solution. The crystalline being's facets shimmered with surprise. Explain, human. Dr. Emily Oko stepped forward. The Void isn't a destructive force. It's a lost being from another universe, consuming energy in its search for a way home. Murmurs of disbelief echoed through the communication channel. Jamal Thompson couldn't help but grin. Yeah, we couldn't believe it either. But trust us, it's the truth. Zara and Jerry joined in. We've developed a way to create a bridge between universes. We can send it home. The alien leaders erupted in a cacophony of voices. Some were excited, others doubtful, and a few were outright hostile to the idea. Silence. Grand Admiral Zixtor's voice cut through the noise. Humans, this is unprecedented. How can we trust that this solution will work? Dmitry Volkov spoke up, his calm voice a counterpoint to the chaos. We understand your doubts, but consider this. We've been in direct contact with the entity. It stopped its advance. If we were wrong, we wouldn't be here talking to you now. Captain Lai nodded. We're not asking you to blindly trust us. We're asking for your help. Our plan requires the combined energy of the galactic fleet to create the bridge. The alien leaders fell silent, considering the implications. Finally, a Quarian representative spoke. The risk is enormous. If you're wrong, We'll be sacrificing our defenses for nothing. And if we're right, Lai countered, we save not just our galaxy, but help a lost being find its way home. Isn't that worth the risk? After what felt like an eternity, Grand Admiral Zix Tor spoke. Very well, humans, we will follow your lead. But know this, the consequences of failure will be on your heads. The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. Hope's Arrow transmitted the plans to the fleet, and the most brilliant minds from 100 worlds worked to implement them. As the final preparations were made, Captain Lai addressed his crew. No matter what happens next, I want you all to know how proud I am. You've shown the galaxy the best of humanity. Jummel grinned nervously. No pressure, right? Zara checked the readings one last time. Energy levels are at maximum. We're as ready as we'll ever be. Dr. Okoa nodded. I've established a link with the entity. It understands the plan, and it's grateful. All right, Lai said, taking a deep breath. Let's make history. Initiate the sequence. At Lai's command, a surge of energy pulsed from the gathered fleet. Hope's Arrow, positioned at the focal point, channeled the immense power towards the void. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, space itself began to twist and warp. A swirling vortex of light and color formed, growing larger by the second. The void, a dark mass against the stars, began to move towards the opening. Alarms blared across the bridge. Captain, Zora shouted over the noise. The energy drain is massive. The fleet can't maintain this for long. Lai's knuckles turned white as he gripped his chair. Hold steady. We just need a little more time. The ship shuddered violently as it struggled to contain the enormous energies flowing through it. Sparks flew from consoles, and the air filled with the acrid smell of burning circuits. We're losing containment, Jamal yelled. Another minute, and we'll have a core breach. Dmitri's voice was strained but determined. The entity is almost through. We can't give up now. As systems failed across the ship, the crew of Hope's Arrow watched in awe as the void, the being that had terrified an entire galaxy, slipped through the portal. In its wake, stars that had been consumed began to reappear, as if time itself was being reversed. With a final, blinding flash of light, the portal closed. The bridge of Hope's Arrow fell eerily silent, emergency lights casting a red glow over the exhausted crew. Status report, Lai managed, his voice hoarse. Emily checked her readings, a smile spreading across her face. Captain, it worked. The void is gone, and the consumed systems are restoring themselves. Cheers erupted across the bridge, the crew hugging each other in relief and joy. Their impossible mission, against all odds, had succeeded. As congratulations poured in from the galactic fleet, Captain Lai Wei looked at his team with pride. They had faced the universe's greatest threat not with weapons, but with understanding and compassion. In doing so, they had not only saved countless lives, but had also opened up new frontiers of scientific discovery. Humanity, the newcomers, the underdogs, had proven themselves to be the heroes the galaxy needed. And as Hope's Arrow limped back towards the cheering fleet, they knew that this victory was just the beginning of humanity's grand adventure among the stars. The Grand Hall of Unity Station buzzed with excitement. Representatives from every corner of the galaxy had gathered for an unprecedented event, the official welcome of humanity into the Galactic Council. At the center of attention stood the crew of Hope's Arrow. Captain Lai Wei, Dr. Emily Okoa, Zaran Jerry, Dmitri Volkov, and Jamal Thompson looked both proud and slightly uncomfortable in their new formal uniforms. I feel like a dressed-up penguin, Jamal whispered, tugging at his collar. Zora elbowed him gently. Shay, this is a historic moment. Try to look dignified. Grand Admiral Zixtor's crystalline form shimmered as it approached the podium. The hall fell silent. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, the Admiral's voice resonated. We gather today to honor those who saved us from destruction and to welcome a new species into our ranks. The Admiral's gaze fell on the human crew. Humans of Earth, you came to us as unknowns, considered primitive by many. Yet when faced with a threat that paralyzed our mightiest civilizations, you alone stepped forward. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Many alien representatives nodded, their earlier skepticism replaced by respect. Your victory was not won through superior technology or military might. Zixtor continued. Instead, you showcased qualities that we had overlooked: creativity, empathy, and an unbreakable spirit. Captain Lai stepped forward to address the assembly. His voice was steady, but those who knew him could detect a hint of emotion. We are honored by your welcome. Humanity has always dreamed of reaching the stars, of being part of something greater than ourselves. He paused, looking at his crew, then back at the alien faces. But we never imagined it would happen like this. We came seeking to save our world. In the process, we found a galaxy full of wonders, challenges, and new friends. Dr. Oko spoke next, her scientific curiosity shining through. The technology we developed to create the universal bridge has opened up countless possibilities. We stand ready to work with all of you to explore these new frontiers. The Quarian representative floated forward, its large brain pulsing with excitement. Indeed, our preliminary studies of the bridge technology suggest applications in faster-than-light travel, energy production, and even time manipulation. Excited chatter broke out across the hall. The implications were staggering. Mitri stepped up, his calm voice cutting through the noise. But with great power comes great responsibility. We must approach these discoveries with wisdom and caution. Zara nodded in agreement. We've seen what fear and misunderstanding can lead to. Our encounter with the Void taught us the importance of communication and empathy, even in the face of the unknown. Jamal grinned, adding, "Yeah, turns out the scariest thing in the universe just needed a helping hand." Who knew? His comment drew laughter from the assembly, easing the tension in the room. Grand Admiral Zixtor raised a crystalline appendage for silence. "Well said, humans. Your wisdom belies your species' youth. It is clear that you have much to offer our galactic community." The Admiral turned to address the entire assembly. "Let this mark the beginning of a new era. An era of cooperation, discovery, and mutual understanding." A cheer went up from the gathered representatives. Species that had been bitter rivals for millennia now found themselves united in a common purpose. As the ceremony concluded, the human crew found themselves surrounded by alien diplomats, scientists, and leaders, all eager to discuss future collaborations. Captain Lai watched with pride as his team engaged with the galactic community. Dr. Oko was deep in conversation with a group of scientists, sketching complex equations on a datapad. Zara and Jamal were regaling a group of wide-eyed alien youngsters with tales of their adventure. Dmitri was discussing cultural exchange programs with a diverse group of diplomats. Sarah Chen, the human representative who had first proposed the mission, approached Lai with a smile. "Quite a change from when we first arrived, isn't it?" Lai nodded, his eyes scanning the room. "It's more than I ever imagined. We came here as outsiders. And now we're at the center of a galactic renaissance." Sarah finished. "Earth's governments are already discussing plans for mass production of starships. We're going to need them to keep up with all the joint ventures being proposed." Lai raised an eyebrow. "Let me guess. They want Hope's Arrow's crew to lead the expansion." Sarah grinned. "Got it in one, Captain. How do you feel about being an ambassador, as well as an explorer?" Before Lai could answer, Grand Admiral Zixtor approached. "Captain Lai, your team's first mission as full members of the Galactic Council has been decided." Lai straightened, curious. "What's the mission, Admiral?" Zixtor's crystalline form sparkled with what Lai had learned to recognize as excitement. "We've detected an anomaly at the edge of known space. It bears similarities to the void entity you encountered. The Council believes your unique experience makes you best suited to investigate." As Lai processed this information, he felt a familiar mix of excitement and apprehension. Humanity had found its place among the stars, but the greatest adventures were still to come. With a smile, he turned to his crew. "Well, team, ready to make history again?" The enthusiastic response from his crew and the supportive looks from their new alien allies told him everything he needed to know. A new chapter in galactic history was beginning, and humanity was ready to help write it.